Hey, welcome back. Today I'm going to be talking about Shakespeare's short poem, The Phoenix and the Turtle. And it's a bit of an outlier for Shakespeare because, it's not one of the sonnets, and it's not one of the long, more complex poems like Lucrece or Venus and Adonis, and yet it's very rich for its size. The poem is 67 lines and is made up of really 3 parts. And it focuses around the death of a pair of lovers, lovebirds, literally. The turtle and the phoenix. The turtle is a turtle dove, not that reptile. And this poem is not only one of Shakespeare's shortest pieces, but it's also one of his most difficult to interpret. Not only has there been a variety of attempts to force an allegorical reading on top of this, but it also has that same old Shakespearean tendency to convey an idea and not fully interpret it for the reader. Leave it up to the reader to decide what's really going on here. That beautiful and ambiguous Shakespeare way. The first part of the poem begins describing the birds who are gathering around to come to the funeral of the turtle dove and the phoenix. And then they sing an anthem about the love of these 2 birds. Finally, reason steps forward and has a threnos, or a dirge, a sorrowful song for their death. As I mentioned, many people have tried to force an identification on who the turtle represents, who the phoenix represents, and most of those feel really very forced and unsuccessful. You can listen to those theories elsewhere, but I'm mostly going to ignore them because I think that much more interesting is the discussion of love within this poem. First of all, turtles, or turtle doves, are symbols of faithfulness, and later on in the poem it's going to talk about truth. And so that fidelity, that truth, is going to be important. Second of all, the phoenix is that fiery and vibrant bird that is connected with the idea of immortality. It dies, but then it is resurrected over and over and over again. And in this poem, the phoenix is connected with the idea of beauty. But strangely, there is no mention of its resurrection. In fact, it really seems to fully and completely die at the end of this poem. Not only that, but the poem indicates that this love story has no offspring. They have not produced any children. And since we've just been talking about immortality, we might remember the early sonnets in which Shakespeare advises the young man to marry and have children to carry forth his beauty, be a kind of immortality for him. But that kind of immortality is gone as well. So is the intensity of the love between the 2 of them their mark on the earth, their kind of immortality? It's very unclear. But what is clear is how intense their love is. Through the anthem portion of the poem, it emphasizes how the union of the pair is so intense that it defies reason. Instead of being 2, and instead of being 1, they are something other. Not 2, not 1, but something. It's a metaphysical state that rises above the natural, a love beyond measure and beyond the figuring of reason. But this leads to a further complexity in the fact that the last part of the poem is spoken by reason, who was in some ways defied by their love. Why is this? What does it mean? Is their love a defeat because it's fruitless and barren and then handed over to the rationality that it tried to rise above? Or is the chaste metaphysical unity of the 2 birds in their love something too beautiful to be made a copy of, leaving reason at the end to marvel what is beyond measure? Shakespeare, as usual, doesn't tell us. Notice the use of the words beauty and truth in reason's threnos at the end, though. Beauty and truth have died with these birds, which feels very heavy. There is no more beauty, there's no more truth after these, because they sort of broke the mold. If you're familiar with John Keats, you'll recognize hints of his language from Ode to a Grecian Urn. Was he inspired by this passage when he was writing that poem? I think very possibly. At this point, because it's short enough, I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you, and you can make of it what you will. The Phoenix and Turtle. Let the bird of loudest lay on the sole Arabian tree, herald sad and trumpet be, to whose sound chaste wings obey. But thou, shrieking hairbringer, foul procurer of the fiend, augur of the fever's end, to this troop come thou not near. From this session interdict every fowl of tyrant wing, save the eagle, feathered king. keep the obsequy so strict. Let the priest in surplice white, that defunctile music can be the death-divining swan, lest the requiem lack his right. And thou trouble-dated crow, that thy sable gender mak'st, with the breath thou giv'st and tak'st, mongst our mourners shalt thou go. Here the anthem does commence. Love and constancy is dead. Phoenix and the turtle fled in mutual flame from hence. So they loved, as love in twain had the essence but in one. Two distincts, division none. Number there in love was slain. Hearts remote yet not asunder, distance and no space was seen, twixt this turtle and his queen. But in them it were a wonder. So between them love did shine, that the turtle saw his right flaming in the phoenix sight. Either was the other's mine. Property was thus appalled, that the self was not the same, single nature's double name, neither two nor one was called. Reason in itself confounded saw division grow together, to themselves yet either neither. Simple were so well compounded, that it cried, how true a twain seemeth this concordant one. Love hath reason, reason none, if what parts can so remain. Whereupon it made this thread to the phoenix and the dove, co-supremes and stars of love, as chorus to their tragic scene. Threnos. Beauty, truth, and rarity. Grace in all simplicity, here enclosed in cinders lie. Death is now the phoenix nest, and the turtle's loyal breast to eternity doth rest. Leaving no posterity, 'twas not their infirmity, it was married chastity. Truth may seem, but cannot be. Beauty brag, but 'tis not she. Truth and beauty buried be. To this urn let those repair that are either true or fair, for these dead birds sigh a prayer. You hear the sorting of the birds at the beginning. Which birds are allowed to come to the funeral and which birds are not. We don't want that owl, that hairbringer of evil. The crow's okay because he's dressed in black for a funeral. The eagle, of course, with his elegance, but other carrion birds, no. The swan, of course, to sing the swan song. Then the language of elevating the rationality of their love above reason, where their math is better than math. Because they have a kind of special metaphysical math going on here. Finally, notice the tension at the end when it's talking about beauty and truth. Since beauty and truth have died with the turtle dove and the phoenix, how is it that they still exist? Truth may seem but cannot be. Anything that looks true is no longer true because true truth, true fidelity is gone. Beauty brag, but 'tis not she. You might brag about your beauty, but you're not beauty anymore because beauty died with the phoenix. And yet, at the end, he says, to this urn let those repair that are either true or fair, to say a prayer for the dead birds. So if you're true or you're fair, you come and you pray because you are represented here. And yet, we just said that they were dead. Truth and beauty completely gone? There's no such thing as real truth or real beauty anymore, so how can truth and beauty come to the urn and pray? I'll leave that one up to you. But there's clearly a celebration of intensity of love, and what is lost when that dies, as though all beauty and all truth are erased with the death of a love like this. Thanks for watching. You can click to subscribe or to watch another Shakespeare video, and I will continue with the rest of the plays that I haven't finished yet very soon. I'll see you later. Bye-bye.